Previously on Coruscant Nights. Peabo feels a little nudge. It's dark. His eyes are closed. Something happened. The sounds are still there. The what he remembers, the blaster bolts, the explosions, the ringing in his ears.
Peabo shakes his head, pulls himself very slowly to his feet. His eyes are still like 2/3 closed at the moment. His head is absolutely ringing from the after effects of everything that's going on. He fumbles down around him and realises that the horn baffles that he wears to suppress the electromagnetic radiation caused by being around so much technology, so many droids, have slipped off in whatever happened, and he slides them back over his horns. It's like losing your sight or your sense of smell, this intangible extra sense which defines Gotal culture, but is just too overwhelming in all the signal and the noise of somewhere like Coruscant. And with that deadened, he feels able finally to open his eyes that full crack as his headache slowly subsides.
As he opens his eyes, he's able to survey the scene. His rangers, his allies, they're dead.
Right, so the fact they use that against us suggests to me that we're definitely on the right track. I knew there was something fishy going on with those leaked troop deployment vouchers, so we need to get this out. We need to get this back and uploaded to the AAN servers, but we can't just give them what we've got. At the moment, all we've got is a suspicion and some corroborating evidence. We need to find some way of getting into the military or the Grand Army or the Senate or other high-up encrypted secure communication network. First of all, we need to get to safety. We need to find out who's hit our lads. We need to get any more information we possibly can, and we need to get that uploaded to the ANN servers, even if that means we have to send you or me or both of us off-world or somewhere where we've got a secure link up to the servers.
Potential allies hide in the shadows, but trust can be hard to earn. I think we could do a stealth check with a handful of boosts because they're not paying attention to what's behind them. They're solely looking forward right now.
Okay, well that is what I'm going to do. I don't have any ranks in stealth, so I'm going to flip a light side point over to upgrade that. And when you say a handful of boosts, 1, 2?
Let's do 2 boosts. It is, unfortunately for you, going to be against a red and 2 purples.
Yep, that's fair. I can't think of anything at the moment, legitimately. When I'm in the comms room, maybe, and I've got a few things that I might be able to show off. The propagandist has got some interesting talents.
Yes, it does.
So I might be able to show off a few of those when I get in there, but I don't think I've got anything legitimate until I get in there. The only other thing I could think of is having K-Tag create some form of distraction, but I don't think I could do that in a way that wouldn't compromise K-Tag, and I'm not prepared to do that at the moment.
Right.
So
K-Tag is a friend and also has a lot of information.
Yeah. So no, I'm just gonna roll it. So for the listeners, yeah, that's a yellow and 2 purple versus a red and 2 purple versus a yellow, green and 2 boost. Yeah. Okay. 2 success, 1 triumph, 1 despair.
Lovely. They don't see you at all.
They do not. Oh, crikey. I mean, that is what we like to term the GM Bane, that is, isn't it? That's the... Although I suppose the only way it could be even... Because even a failure, you can kind of go, oh, okay, I know what you're going to get for your failure, and then the despair amps that up. And it's... Oh, crikey. Okay, so I sneak into the comms room. All right.
Yep.
What I think I would... In fact, I have a suggestion for them both.
Sure.
Depending on your mood. Okay, so here's what I'm thinking. That stealth gets me into the comms room. Just gets me in, all well and good. The triumph is that not only do I not need to turn on any specific extra bits of equipment, but the backup computer is on here, and the watch sergeant, rather foolishly, has left themselves logged in because they might need to get in here. The despair is that that's all well and good, I've got 5 minutes before the watch sergeant is alerted that someone is using his login from this room, which means that there's going to be very, very limited amounts of information I can get unless I want to push my luck and potentially have to fight my way out. Or something like that. I don't know.
No, I like it.
Maybe when I get in, it logs the watch sergeant off from his computer in the main room. It'll pop up going, you have logged in somewhere else. Did you mean to do this?
Mm-hmm.
And so there's going to be a bit of time before they come looking, but they'll also be alerted that someone has been in and poked. I suppose, even if it's not a case of they know I'm here, they send someone in straight after me. It's a case of the watch sergeant goes, well, I didn't access this, and they can see that trail, which means that if they are reporting up to whoever this mole is going to know what I know and know that someone is looking for it. So it's going to up the pressure of that hunt.
It is a version of that. So I don't know which listeners out there have worked retail. When you are logged in on a particular register, you cannot be logged in on another particular register or another register. And that is the case here. So this watch sergeant is logged on here, and somewhere off in the distance of this facility, he's trying to log on to something else and getting the message that you're currently logged on in the backup communications room. Please log out before continuing. So he's not particularly happy and is coming in this direction eventually.
Okay, right. So I'm going to quickly log in, and what I would like to try and do is, again, at the moment, Peabo's very much on elimination. Cut down the number of extraneous leads, narrow that possibility down, zero in on what's going on. So what I would like to do is look through the recent orders distributed to the clones to see if there has been an arrest or incapacitate order put out on the Antarian Rangers, specifically the 56th Rangers Brecker Squadron, which is my squad. So what he's trying to work out, it bluntly is, was this a hit targeted on him by the clones, or was it carried out by a third party that's working for whoever?
Okay.
If you get me, I need to know how big my threat surface is.
Yes. All right, let's roll that probably computers check.
Yep.
You are in, and you got that triumph, so it's going to be easy.
Okay. Can I argue a boost for having some security protocols from the clones from my advantages earlier on? Just burn one of those at this point. Okay, grand. And can I argue a boost from... Actually, no. I could argue a boost, or try to argue a boost for K-Tag helping, but I think actually I want K-Tag keeping watch.
Yep, that's kind of what I figured. Yeah, he's watching the door.
Am I going to upgrade this roll? Not just yet, no. Okay, so 2 greens and a yellow and a blue versus a single purple. Come on. For the love of God, so many blank dice. Although that works out as 1 success and 4 advantage, so it could have been an awful lot worse. But there, 2 blank dice in there.
So what you see in there is not a kill order, but a capture. Yeah, I think that's the basics of your success. Do you have any advantage? Did you say you had 4 advantages?
4 advantage.
Okay. Any ideas for those?
Yes, I do. I have idea, and I imagine that it will probably work out as 2 blocks of 2, or maybe a 3, and then the other one is too much. So what I'm thinking is update my old clone security protocols to the newer ones taken from the computer, just in case I have to go hacking a bit further on.
We could do 2. Yeah.
But the more important one, which might supersede that, is who issued that order. As in, did that come down the clone chain of communications? Did it start... Even if I don't get a name, I get a designation or a code name. Because Peabo's used to working with code names in the field, so you don't give away your forces. But he will hopefully be able to work out from that whether or not this came from a Jedi general, or whether it came from a Senate attaché, or whether it came from someone bedded in the military. And in fact, I'm happy to burn all 4 of my advantage on that, because I think this is a big hook.
I think that it is coded. You don't know the name of the person, but you can tell that they are a Senate attaché. They're tied with the Senate. You don't have much information beyond that. I would say you can have the 2 for the updated credentials. And since you don't have a name to go along with it, I think I would even say that that's just one advantage. You know that it came from the Senate. You don't know much more than that.
Okay.
The last advantage, if you don't mind me spending it,
Of course not,
is that that order is still open.
So
It hasn't happened yet.
Oh, so they've not reported that we've been taken out, or else it's still out because they know that at least one of us got away. Okay.
They haven't reported that you've been taken out.
What that does mean, though, is that if the clones see me, they are going to go for me.
Yes.
Okay. Right. Okay. Oh, okay. Now I'm on borrowed time. Any minute now, this watch captain is going to realise that I'm in here. I've only got time left for one thing, and you know what? I'm feeling a little bit annoyed about everything that's gone on K7. And Peabo kind of flexes his fingers, puts his horn baffles back on so he can focus, opens up the internal communication server for the clones. And I'm using bad press. So I'm choosing an organisation, in this case, the clones. I'm making a hard deception test. And if I succeed, which I have, that is 3 successes but a threat. All members of that organisation have their wound threshold reduced by 1. If I'd had 1 more success, it would have been reduced by 2. As Peabo corrupts some of their protocols. Effectively, he spams some of their protocols. He changes around some of their deployment schedules to basically throw some of the clone troopers that might be coming specifically for him, or any of the squads that were deployed where his unit were, further into the fray. But there were some threats on that as well, so I imagine that... Yeah.
As you finish typing that up, moving things around, changing the protocols, a message pops up, its own window on the screen that you're looking at. Run.
Peabo does. He's going to have a look outside to make sure the clones are not yet making their way, and then he's going to attempt to sneak out the same way he came. Would you like another stealth test?
You begin to run, and as you look around the corner, you see one of the troopers has a hand up to the side of his helmet like he's listening to something. I would actually rather do probably an athletics check for your speed.
Okay. Again, not something that Peabo's particularly good at, but he'll do his best. What's the difficulty?
Average difficulty with a boost, because you know you have a clear way, and you know your way.
Get in. 3 success, 1 advantage.
So you are down the stairs by the time you hear the door opening upstairs, and nobody follows you out of this building.
For my advantage, can I, as I'm exiting the building, remember to stay out of the camera, basically to stay in the camera's blind spot as I make my way round and out?
That'll work.
Okay, right. Next, we need to find somewhere to lay low just for a minute while I type up these notes and get it queued again in Utagortat server. At least we know what's going on. I think we might need to find somewhere we can hack into the Senate computers, see if we can take this further up, see if we can at least get a name and narrow it down for our superiors. K-Tag, while we're making a move, pull up the street plans as best as you can for this area of Coruscant. See if you can find us somewhere a bit out of the way to go to ground, and then start plotting me a path to get to the Senate. We'll break this thing open if it's the last thing I do.
All right. So below us, we've got an abandoned police precinct. We could hold up there for a little while. Really far down, we've got almost a whole level that seems not great. Though the further down we go, the less conflict, probably.
But you said an abandoned police station. I wonder if they've still got any of their infrastructure intact that we can use. That's the one. Plot us a path, K-Tag. Let's get down there.
You got it.
And again, as we kind of get out of the obvious thoroughfares, my hand's back on my blaster, and it's out in my hand under my poncho, just in case. Hunch down a little bit.
As you head down the levels, the sun continues to set. It's darker as you get down to the precinct. We do sort of a screen wipe, and you are standing in front of this abandoned building. It looks like there was a fire, maybe not recently, maybe within the past month or two, and the top floor of it especially is pretty devastated. But as you head in, you'll have to bust down some boarded up doors and windows to get in, but that's not difficult.
Okay, yep. make my way in there. Again, since this is a fresh encounter type thing, before I go in, I'm again going to open up my senses and see if there's anyone squatting inside, if there's any larger wild animals that might have made this a lair that I need to worry myself about. Just check it out before I go in as best I can.
You sense the dull background hum of a pair of droids who have been shut off for a long time. It's like, I feel like when they tell 3PO to shut off and he can turn himself back on.
Yeah, it's like Alexa.
It's putting your computer to sleep.
Yeah.
So there are a few sleeping droids.
Yeah, puts it on standby, and if you know you clap twice and they'll wake up, or okay.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
and a pair of either Lothcats or Tukas are making their way out the back of this building right now.
Looks like this will be just the job, K-Tag. Right, let's get in there. And I'm going to jimmy open some of the boards of the windows, get in there, try to close it behind me again so it's not quite so obvious. And then, for the first time in a while, he's going to find somewhere to sit that's not too badly covered in grimness. Pop his horn baffles back on and just breathe. Just for a few seconds, go through a bit of circular breathing just to steady his nerves again, recenter himself. Right, okay. K-Tag, start recording.
You got it.
K-Tag switches on their recording device.
Sergeant Jakey, this is Peabo Scubbs reporting, normally from Antarian Action News, currently seconded to the 56th Antarian Rangers Bracca Squadron. Following from my more recent report security codenames Rose Placard, we managed to get ourselves diverted to Coruscant with the intention of resupplying and furthering certain investigations as covered by that code phrase. While we were here, the Separatist forces attacked the city, as you no doubt you'll be picking up from your military recordings. The adjunct, which I think is very important that you're aware of, is that our squad was targeted by droid popper EMP devices, or something very similar, personal rather than tactical scale implements, which, as you can imagine, wreaked a great deal of sorrow amongst myself and my kin. While they were reeling from the after effects of that, they were all cut down, presumably by blaster fire. I've not yet been able to ascertain exactly which side did the shooting, but on further investigation I have found out that there is currently a capture order on the squadron, being executed by clone divisions throughout the city. I have gone to ground and am making further investigations. My suspicions that the source for this is higher up the chain so far are being supported. See the attached files, codename PS17, 18, 19 and 26. Further information as we go. These files are being stored in K7T4G to be uploaded to the Antarian Action News Network mainframe and servers, and thence relayed by secure communications to yourself. Once we're in position to make that secure connection, at the moment we have no secure comm lines and any external communications are assumed to be compromised. Further reports as they come. Peabo Scubbs, out. Alright, K-Tag. Store that in with those things. Encryption, Rose Placard, security coding, upload the following files as well. And Peabo pulls out his data slate and basically swipes files into the upload box, which send them to via secure comm link to K-Tag's internal servers.
I've got it. Yeah, our signals are bad. I think the Separatists are jamming them. Clones are jamming them too. It's
too much.
We're not going to be able to upload until we get out of here.
No, that's fine. That's fine. We'll find somewhere. Put that as a tertiary objective. See if you can find some form of comms relay that we might be able to slice into and get these messages out there. But at the moment, finding out who's behind this takes overall priority. Right, now let's see whether or not there's any infrastructure in here that we can use. And he's going to start having a look around the police station. I imagine this place has been, what wasn't burned has been furiously looted by various criminal gangs. But that's okay. He's not looking for any actual terminals or live equipment. What he's looking for is network ports that are wired into the wall, power sockets, that sort of stuff. Those kind of bits that are probably normally encased in duracrete and so aren't being stripped out along with the copper piping. Because if he can find effectively a LAN point, he can plug his data slate in that and hopefully ride that encrypted channel further up without it being quite so obvious, now that he's got these additional security codes from the clone barracks he's just been in.
Yeah, so looking around the barracks, the top floor is almost gone. Most of it is very heavily looted. There's a sort of a prison area down in the basement, and adjacent to that is what appears to be a storage room. And this space looks like it was largely untouched. There are actually a pair of those Coruscant police droids shut down in here, and some boxes and crates. You do find a port low on the wall behind one of those crates.
Excellent, this will do. Right, and he's going to, again, drop cross-legged between them, take out from his various pouches some of his slicers kit, and kit bash together a network cable that will connect in.
Okay.
And wire his data slate in. And then he's going to see what kind of connections are still running. The intention that he's currently got, just so that you're clear of what I'm actually trying to achieve here, is I'm not going to be able to get into any military systems because I'm not in the clone barracks, but I will be able to hopefully get into some of the civic systems. And what I'm mostly looking for is where the nearest place is to where I am, where I can jump onto a Senate computer system. So either an embassy, ideally an abandoned embassy would be even better, but an embassy or a senatorial hub or an attache's building or even like a clone trooper barracks that is one of the diplomatic protection group bits closer to the Senate. Or because I mean, Peabo doesn't actually know what side of Coruscant he's currently on. He could be near to the Senate. He could be on the opposite side of the planet from it. So that's his next step. He wants to be able to start narrowing down where in the Senate this code came from.
Okay. All right. Let's do a computers check. This check is more basic. It's not super deep. You're not diving in. Let's do the old Sil Zero. You tell me how hard you want it to be.
Do I get any boosts, do you think?
Maybe for that sort of espionage tool kit that you've been using.
Okay. So my normal pool is 2 greens and a yellow. I think, because this again, I think is the next important step that he needs to go to find out what he's going on. And he's very aware that time is running out. So, I'm going to argue for a setback going in here because time-based and pressure.
Yeah.
I kind of get the feeling, again, because they were a prey animal, or at least in my head, the Gotal were a prey species that developed up. When they are on the offence, because they do make quite good soldiers and commandos, but that's when they're on the offence, when they're the initiators. Being on the back foot, I mean, he's got an all right cool, but even so, I think that it's starting to get to him a little bit, and I imagine so. I'm going to throw a setback in there. I'm going to flip a light side point. That gives you, by my count, 3 dark side to play with.
Yes.
And I am going for a hard check. I think I'm going to go for a 3 purple.
Okay.
Because what I'm after is not just like a city map, because I imagine that what he's actually looking for over and above, because I kind of get the feeling that pulling up a city map is you don't need to roll. Pulling up a city map that the Coruscant security force, the police force before the clones came, marked up as these are places of interest. Okay, that's a bit more difficult. What I'm looking for is this was a place of interest and is now vulnerable. So it takes that extra. So 3 purple is what I'm going to push my luck for this one.
Since you are in police channels, why don't you throw a boost on there as well?
I will, and I'll roll that.
This is the computer to be doing this sort of work on, or the line to be doing it on.
So that gives me 1 success but 2 threat.
Okay. There are a lot of places around here. I'm hopefully not going to give you too many choices, but you've got choices.
Is that the threat? Analysis paralysis.
Maybe. There is an area of town called Sereno Heights where multiple senators live, and each of them has a secure connection to the Senate in their home. There's one that shouldn't be there. It's actually very close to where the action went down with your squadron. The Golden Gundark Casino has a connection to the Senate computers. There is also another clone, like a smaller clone barracks, a few levels above you, They are not tied to the Senate, but you may be able to get something from them. And then the last place would be the local offices of the Republic Security Force.
Okay. While the Coruscant Nights fanboy in me wants to go to the Golden Gun Dark, I don't think Peabo would, because it's too obvious. I think this is where we need to head, Serrano Heights, K-Tag. And this is my thought. This is where the senators are, and they're going to have their own security forces, and their own security forces are going to be on high alert. But by the same token, they're not going to want their senators to be sat at home, no matter how heavily fortified their home is, when there are, capital ships and frigates dropping out at bloody sky. So hopefully, when we get closer, we might be able to scope out whether or not there's any of them that's more abandoned than the others, or less fortified, or places to avoid. But I definitely think that that's probably the best bet. The other places, knowing the clones are looking for me, for us, there's only so far I'm going to be able to push me luck. So, why couldn't there be a sodding Antarian ambassador on this side at Coruscant? We never get an easy break, do we, lad? Righto, pull me up the map for Serrano Heights. Let's have a look what my options are for these senators. No, we're going to have to wait and see when we get there. Isn't he a separatist? Oh, that'd be ideal if we could get in there. But then again, they're either going to be really heavily fortified or probably death trap the damn place. Look, I reckon, I don't know what you think, K-Tag, but I reckon if we go over here, then through that way, we follow these tunnels down to there, then we pop out here, make our way over there, and maybe jump in cab or something for get there. I reckon that'll get us close enough without us being overly spotted, and we can take a better scoping out when we get round that area. Just hope we can dodge the bloody claws until we get there.
I gotta say, you lost me at the second left turn, but I'm on board.
Righto. And Peabo kind of stands up, shakes himself down in a very kind of animalistic, almost like a whole body shake. Takes a swig from his canteen, pops it back in, again closes his eyes just for a second, pops his horn baffles back on, and when he kind of slumps, just for a second or two, just kind of slumps down, his shoulders down, and his left hand, he grips the pocket containing the ID tags taken from his dead comrades. And just for a second, it looks like everything's getting a little bit on top of him as suddenly he's realising the enormity of what he's facing, what he's doing, and the fact he's basically having to do it on his own, just him and K-Tag. He's not got the support structure he's gotten so used to over the last few years. All his friends, apart from K-Tag, are dead, and there's just him against the entire clones, against potentially the Senate, and who knows how far this goes up. Might be the Chancellor for all that he knows. There's no knowing how high this goes. And there's just him. And then he stands tall again, lifts his chin up, and then walks forward with purpose once again. Kind of just a bit of a determination in his stride, eyes locked firmly ahead, horn baffles on, teeth gritted.
He begins to stow his datapad, and there's a little ping from it.
Okay. He kind of stops in his determined stride. And there's a very awkward moment as he kind of looks at K-Tag, and K-Tag looks at him, and they both kind of look at his data slate, and he slowly takes it back out of his pocket and looks at it.
And there's a message on it, and it says, "You're leaving a trail."
Who is this? This is a second... Right, okay. Is there any option for me to reply to the message?
Yes, there is. There's a little chat box.
It
doesn't look like it's something that's native to your device.
Okay, I reply, "Who is this? And why did he tell me to run?"
An ally, our objectives overlap.
Trust is hard to come by these days. How do I know you are who you say you are?
You don't,
Fair.
but I can give you information.
I'm listening. I'm used to working with sources off the record. But first, what do you want from me? Because if there's one thing I have learned, even when objectives overlap, nothing's free.
You get a single word reply. Information.
Now you're talking my language. I'm going to relocate. Is this channel going to be open in half an hour or so?
Yes. Alternatively, find a public terminal. Message boards. Neelig 99.
We'll speak when it's safe. And then Peabo heads out. As Peebo's leaving then, he's going to, before he does, he's going to hold for us. No, in fact, as he's leaving, because he's realised that yeah, he probably is leaving a trail, and he doesn't want to stay in any one place too long. So as he's moving, he's going to looking on the map that he's managed to get, see if there's any public terminals nearby that he can get to that won't have too great a risk of exposure.
Sure. As he heads out of this place, looking at K-Tag's map, K-Tag's, I think, updating this map as you move and as you ask for more information. They pull up a HoloNet cafe that, with the current chaos, may not be open, but they're definitely public terminals there.
Okay.
And it is on the way.
That's where I'm going to head to then.
Okay.
Again, sticking to the back alleys and side streets and the sewers if I have to get as close as possible without being too exposed.
Mm-hmm. So you duck through alleys, you climb into sewers to change levels rather than taking the public lifts. Eventually you come to this HoloNet cafe. This section of Coruscant, you cannot see the sky, but it seems like everybody has gotten off the streets.
Yeah.
And the local businesses are closed and locked up.
The HoloNet cafe, does it have a sign outside advertising what their rates are?
I'm sure it does.
Okay. Just because, in case I need to give a bribe, I want to make sure we're in the ballpark of...
Yeah.
Is it like locked up, or is it just closed, or are the shutters down, or...
It's not in the best neighborhood. I'd say that the open sign is not on, and there are, since it's Star Wars, it's probably a ray shield that you see behind the windows.
Is there any sign of the proprietor?
Yeah, there's a light on in the back.
I'm going to make my way around the back then. Knock on the door.
Okay. You head around an alley, and yeah, there's a door back there, and you knock, and a chatter fan opens the door a crack and says,
"Who are you? What do you need? We're closed."
I get that, Chief, and I'm really sorry for wake you up and disturb you on tonight of all nights, but I need to jump on public HoloNet. I need to check something out. It's vitally important to what's going on, and I get that at the moment the last thing you're going to want to do is let a stranger in here, especially one looking like I do. But I've got 50 credits here to buy half an hour of your time on that computer and your silence, and as a little thank you for the inconvenience that I'm putting you through to this.
As you say that, you hear a distant, extremely loud explosion. At this point, you are far enough from a lot of the battle to not be able to hear it.
But this is serious. Yeah, it's. Yeah. And Peabo kind of flinches down again. That kind of, and his eyes kind of, they go wild, and they don't cross. They do the opposite. They kind of slide to the side. They move outwards, and that last bit of goat heritage that gives him the 270-degree field of vision, so he can see almost all behind him and all around. And I imagine the Chadrafan also being. Yeah. We both have that kind of freezing kind of.
Their whiskers frizz a little bit, and they duck behind the door a little bit, and they look out, opening in a crack more, and look to the left and right and make sure you're alone, and they say,
"Come in."
I follow him in with kind of K-Tag kind of hovering above me, reach into one of my pouches and pull out a cred stick with 50 creds on, hand it over.
And the Jetterfan takes it and says,
"Yeah, the computers are up front. Just let me know when you're done. I can't go letting everyone in here. It's just...
No, I get that.
I don't know. Keep quiet. It's been a weird day."
I'll keep quiet. Don't worry. And thank you again. I appreciate this. And he nods and he makes his way over. And I'm going to look for one of the HoloNet terminals that is as far... Oh, ideally, I want one that you can't see if you're looking in through the front. That's the most tucked away, secluded, out of the way one. And I'm not even going to put the lights on. I'm just going to let the glare of the monitor kind of be the lights I'm typing. Just kind of hunkered down, out of the way. I mean, I'm imagining that no one's going to be looking for me immediately on here. The streets are empty, but you can't be too careful at the moment.
Right. And the Chadrafan is... They were willing to take that money. I don't think they're necessarily extremely suspicious of you, but you are wearing military garb. You're clearly alone and doing something that...
I've not bought loyalty. I've bought a brief period of time, and I understand that that's the best I'm going to get from them. So...
Yeah. So They do like stay up front at the terminal that they would typically stay at when the business is open, but they can't see your screen either.
Yeah. So I'm going to jump on the message boards, create a burner account using just create a quick Hotmail account. Use that to create create a quick burner account on them. Then again, I imagine the message boards are absolutely fine, and I'm going to message Neelig99.
Okay. A message comes back to you quickly. That was fast.
Well, we're running out of time. Managed to find somewhere a little bit out of the way. I've got at most an hour here.
We heard you had information. We can help you get it out.
Where do your loyalties lie? I need to know. This is sensitive.
What comes back is it's like the Star Wars version of a PDF document. It is a manifesto. It is 100 pages long about freedom of information for everybody. It has vaguely separatist rhetoric.
Yeah.
But it is not clearly Separatist Republic any affiliation. It's like the access to information is more important than any ties.
I'm going to quickly forward that onto KTAG and go, KTAG, press it for me. Propaganda protocols 447 Alpha, because of course I am a propagandist. This sort of rhetoric is basically I do it a different way normally by my broadcast, but this sort of political statement in one form or another is my meat and potatoes. So that's what I mean. I suspect you've already answered the question.
I think you could do a
warfare. Deception?
You could have a knowledge education check if you want to ID it, or are you trying to ID like what this organization is, or
what I'm trying to ID is, are they the kind of organization that I would trust with military sensitive information that would use it for exposing corruption? So do they leak ethically is roughly what I'm going for.
Okay. What sort of check would that be?
The way that Peabo would approach it, I'd like to argue for warfare, because what he's reading into it is a semiotics behind what they're saying and how that aligns with the military doctrines of indoctrination and propaganda that he was trained on.
Yeah,
rather
I would
than
even
the
say
philosophical school of it.
Yeah, if you wanted to roll one of your social checks to read it from the angle of leadership, I mean, it is a manifesto, or from deception to spot where they're coming from.
Yeah, I think deception actually, because what I'm looking for is what they're not saying and how I would phrase it if I was writing it. That's the kind of and like K-Tag may be my cam droid, but what he mostly is my propaganda droid. This is what we do together. We piece together the appropriate things. So with him pressing it for me, hopefully it means we can get it done significantly quicker. So yeah, I will use deception then to tease the threads apart. What would you say the difficulties, and can I get a boost for K-Tag's help?
The difficulty is a red and a purple, and I flipped for the red.
Okay. So we are looking at 2 yellow and a green and a blue versus a red and a purple.
Did it happen again?
No. Half of it did. Not the good half. Oh dear. So, well, I mean, okay. Have fun with this. A failure, a despair, and 5 advantage.
Okay.
No, 4. 4 advantage. Failure, despair, 4 advantage.
All right. So there's a lot of talk about stopping the spread of authoritarianism. There's talk of dictators and tyrants and capitalism and a lot of isms. It is clearly some form of propaganda. Sort of, you don't really glean all the information that you wanted to from it. It's dense and it's long, and K-Tag might be able to pour over it in the background for a little while if you wanted to maybe use those advantages for a delayed success. He could operate in the background for a little while and maybe tell you a little bit more information about it later on, just as an idea.
No, because I think that'll take too long, and I think Peabo kind of needs to make the decision now.
Yeah.
So, okay, so he can't get through it, but at least from even before I rolled, he'd kind of gleaned, at the very least, it is unlikely that these people would use that information to actively hurt Peabo, and if it gets out, if it gets out, then as a last resort, then so be it. If it doesn't get out through the proper channels, but it still gets out, then that might still work. So I think Peabo is going to reply, okay, it does look a little bit like we're on the same page here. I need to get better access in. What information do you want from me, and what information can you give me in exchange?
You get... Okay, so your question again was, you need better access to get in, correct?
Yeah, I need better access.
The response is surprisingly sarcastic.
Yeah.
Those senators' apartments won't do?
You tell me. You seem to know what I'm after. I'm imagining the despair is that they've hacked my data pad.
The despair is that they didn't hack your data pad. You get the beep of an incoming call, and on the computer screen it says, answer it.
What I'd like to use some of those advantages for then is I'd like to answer. It's like a video call.
No, it's just audio. It's over
audio.
your secure comm link.
Okay. Right, I'll keep the advantages banked then for the moment. I was going to say that if it was going to be a video call, I'd almost want it to be the deep throat style where I am in silhouette with the light behind, but if it's just an audio call, then I'm gonna answer it.
And you hear a scrambled voice.
You're close. The senators are the right choice. Greer Sinlan, Baxam 4. He's a senator from the Outer Rim. The systems close by to him have seen troops diverted at inopportune times, while his system has remained protected. He should be on the list that we know you have. Get the rest of the information that you need, and we will contact you.
And the call cuts out.
And I reply with, and that's the price then. What I get, you get too.
An even trade. Is that an even trade? It's not really an even trade, but that's what they send you.
And also, I did get a despair. It's never going to be an even trade with a despair. Negotiation, not my strong point either. Okay. The last thing I'm going to send before I leave then is, if you get this, make sure it comes out at the right time. What you're getting from me is a slug thrower, but it'll only have one bullet in it, so make sure you use it when the guard's down. Do you understand?
You get a single word again. Yes. And the computer screen clicks off and goes black.
Right. Okie dokie. And I'm going to use those advantages. Now that we've been given a specific name, what I want K-Tag doing in the background is not reading through their manifesto. It's plotting me a path to that senator's apartment that will keep me out of the sight of the cameras. So that's all those advantages basically being burned on, finding me a secure route there.
Okay.
I also try to turn the computer back on to see whether or not they've fried it or if it's just been turned off.
As you bend down to push the button to turn it on, you get the smell of fried computer parts. I'll flip for that because that's mean.
Okay. I shrug. I go over to the Chadra fan and go, thank you. I'm sorry to say that it looks like your computer shorted out a little bit. So here's another 50 credits towards the repair bill. I'm sorry. I know it's your livelihood, and you shouldn't need to suffer for something like this.
The chatter friend doesn't even look at the credits you put on the counter. He just says,
jeez.
And runs over to the computer to see what he can do.
Yeah, well, I leave the creds on there. Because, he's a civvy. It's not his fault. I'm heading out the back again. Thank you again, friend. Stay safe.
You too.
He calls from underneath the desk.
And we head out of the building.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Coruscant Nights. Coruscant Nights is a production of Nightcast Creative. To find out more about us and our projects, visit nightcastcreative.com. Thanks to Adam for playing on these episodes. Be sure to check out Adam's podcasts, two of my favorites, Force Majeure and Dungeon Majeure. You can find them anywhere you get your podcasts. And last but not least, don't forget about Donate for Destiny. Influence our Destiny pool and make a difference in children's lives. Check out nightcastcreative.com/destiny for more info and a link to donate.